Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching in the world. Welcome along to this, the AOR Hype Energy F3 League here on F1 2019. My name is Kieran McGinley, and joining me for this French Grand Prix and round number 8 of the league is Austin Smith. Austin, how are you tonight?
I am doing fantastic, Kieran. Welcome to the viewers. How are you doing?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. It's been a big break. We had our break week, then we had the Canadian Grand Prix, which I missed unfortunately. Yeah, I'm raring to be back here at the French Grand Prix at the Circuit Paul Ricard, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting started with this one. In fact, we only got 15 seconds until we're straight into qualifying, Austin. We're just getting it done tonight.
Yeah, and I think this is going to be an interesting one because I've been doing some testing, as I always do before the race, to get familiar with the track, get familiar with the strategies that the drivers might be using, and all of that stuff. And I think we might have a really interesting race on our hands here today. Certainly an interesting qualifying, because what I expect is that some drivers will go on to the soft, others will go on to the medium in qualifying. So what we might see, what we have seen in the Xbox OCE race, is that I think there were 3 drivers at the very top of the qualifying and at the very front of the grid who were starting on softs, and then behind you had medium, softs, everything intertwined and in between. It was quite a, in terms of tire choice, quite a chaotic qualifying and quite a chaotic grid.
What would have been funny there, Austin, is if you went through the whole strategy thing, like, oh yeah, it's going to be soft tyres to medium tyres to hard tyres, and it was just raining throughout. That would be quite funny if you made all that preparation.
I mean, yeah, the weather doesn't look too great, but it's not raining. It might be, looking at the sky right now, it might be that we will see some rain in over the course of the session, but I'm not sure. We'll see.
Well, we'll definitely see.
Yeah, that would ruin all the preparation. It really would.
Yeah, all that hard work, determination. I mean, Austin makes us a spreadsheet for the race, the qualifying and the race, to give us an idea of what strategies are going to be like. Austin just has that really key communication with the drivers. They obviously divulge the information in private, but it gives Austin an idea of what the strategies are going to be like, what tyres are going to be used, and without giving away certain strategies, what kind of race we can expect. So, Austin, what kind of race can we expect tonight?
Well, we can expect a chaotic race, and the thing is, I've gotten information only from 2 drivers this time, but the information I've got was so all over the place from these, so there was so much in between what I got from these 2 drivers that I don't even know what's going to happen. One driver told me, I'm not going to name names, it was all in private DM, so no one even knows exactly who I'm talking about, which is good, obviously. We don't want anyone to know. But one driver told me he's going to go soft to medium, the 2 softest compounds. And another driver told me he's going to go medium to hard, the 2 hardest compounds. So I don't know what's going to happen. Soft to hard might also be an option, because if one driver can go soft to medium, there's certainly someone who can go soft to hard. But it seems like the tire wear is so harsh for some drivers and so lenient to others. Some drivers just get along on this track. It seems like the gap is just so wide open that we could see all kinds of strategies. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a 2-stop, soft medium soft, or soft medium medium. That could also happen. But the pit stop loss on this track, I think, is too high for a 2-stop. We're talking 23 seconds. And that is with the new pit entry. Remember, there's a new pit entry for this year. Last year it was this awkward pit entry on the pit straight where you had to dive in on the right side. This time the pit entry is on the outside of turn 14, the penultimate corner.
cut over you there, Austin, but Slimbo's had
That's
a
all right.
bit of a moment there, just coming out of
I've seen that.
twisty section on towards the back straight, but he's managed to gather the car up and away he goes. Just an update from one of the drivers. Apparently there's going to be rain in just under 5 minutes time, so expect some of the drivers to be going on to some soft tyres towards the early part of this qualifying session. Back to you, Austin.
Well, as I said, well, soft and medium, really, because some drivers do want to start on the medium. They
Oh, you know what?
probably do.
It's just starting to rain, Austin.
Yeah, it is.
Dropping.
It is.
Wow, okay, so this is it then. The drivers are really going to have to get on with it and get this dry lap in, because this track is going to get quite damp quite quickly, and on these slick tyres they're not going to provide a lot of grip whatsoever, so that's probably why we're seeing so many drivers out onto the track in just this early
All
part.
of them.
And yeah, every single driver is out on track. There's only Jamie James and Alex Muska still on out laps. Here is Deso then making his way towards the last part of the circuit, and there is that new pit lane entrance. Benedum 130.3, Alex 20 131.1, and to be honest with you, Austin, I'm expecting to see some of these drivers do a couple of laps on these tyres just so they can get some dry running on the table.
Yeah, for some drivers, the worst thing that can happen is, I think, what Deso just did, which is an invalidated lap time. He must have cut a corner somewhere or extended the track somewhere that he fully invalidated his lap time, so he's gonna have to go again on the hard tire. Oh, this is gonna catch everyone off guard, and I'm gonna tell you what, right now we can spare all the strategy talk for probably the next 12 minutes, because I don't think we will see much action after all the drivers are done with their lap here, because look at this. I think Benedom's got the pole right now, and he's not gonna have it taken away from him at all. There's no way anyone's gonna beat this time of a 130.3.
Well, let's not eat our words too soon. We've got some drivers who are still out there on a flying lap. We've got Slossie here, who's looking right at the back of Locker as you make your way through the right hand. Oh, there's a Ferrari off in the background, or in the foreground, I should say, and it is Slimbo once again who has slid off the track and off onto that runoff area. Of course, that sort of fiberglass material that's on the track to increase the abrasion on the tyres in an attempt to slow the cars down. Of course, that doesn't help the abrasion, but of course, wet tyres and then onto that track abrasion surface really doesn't bode well for the tyres, and that is Slimbo coming into the pits then, and it's safe to say that that could be his qualifying session over before it's even started. He might get some running on the intermediate, so all is not lost. He could still try and get, you know, maybe the best of the rest on the intermediate tyres, but it depends who else goes out. I think, Austin, we're just going to see a couple of laps from one or two drivers, and then exactly that is exactly what Locker's done, just retire from the session. We might have to do a little bit of an Apex online racing F3 PS4 podcast for about 7 minutes.
I don't think we're going to have too much trouble with that, as Jamie James completely messes up turn 14, the exit, slides wide, now has to try and somehow finish that lap. It's going to be a 136.3, which puts him 9th for now, which also means he's going to have to start on that tire, which I'm not sure that's what he wants. In fact, right now, I would make the argument that Slimbo and P11 might be on the best spot, and for everyone else, I'm surprised to see Yohan and Slossie go out on the mediums and still try to set lap times. Yes, the DRS is still enabled, but do you really want to set a lap time on these tires in these conditions? If they set their lap times on the intermediates once they're viable, which should be any second now, there you go.
Absolutely perfectly timed there, Austin. It's almost like that was planned. Well, it wasn't.
It really wasn't. I had a feeling, though. I gotta say, I had a feeling that it was about time, because I saw Slossie sliding all over the place, and I thought, okay, these medium tires aren't gonna be able to do much, and this is gonna have to go to disable DRS any second. And I was right. That's the trained eye right there. But if you go onto the intermediates, you can start on whatever tire you want to start on, and that's the good thing. You can try to beat Slimbo's 141. You can even try to beat a 136. It's gonna be tough. I don't think it's possible. You lose more than 6 seconds on the inters, but you can you can start on whatever tire you want to start on. You don't run the risk if you run on the mediums just before the DRS is disabled and the intermediate becomes the better tire, then you run risk of getting just up in the 9th or 10th place, and then your tires are locked and you have to start on these, and you may not want to start on these. So I think it's the better call to go for P11 right now, and just try to get that on the inters and start on whatever tire you want to be on.
So the only driver out on track at the moment is Pedro, and he's out there on a set of intermediate tyres. So he must have the stream open, Austin, and taking your words of advice out there on the intermediate tyres, because right now, the worst he could do on these set of tyres right now, obviously, is finish 14th. But sort of the best, as you say, maybe 11th place, which could be 12th, but he'll get that free range of tyre, and also he hasn't used a set of the dry tyres at all in this session.
Exactly.
So he might have used one at the very start, but that's about it. Here is Pedro then on his outlap, now riding on board on what has become a very damp Paul Ricard circuit on towards first corner, and this should be an exciting and pretty eventful first corner. In the braking zone here, it goes left then right. We've seen Sebastian Vettel collide with Valtteri Bottas into turn 1. We've seen all sorts of manner of front wings in the AOR Hype Energy League already, so it can be a tricky couple of corners, but once you get through them, it's then the short run down towards turn 3, and this is the section now 4, 5, and then the long right-hander of turn 6 here, where you want to get on the throttle as early as possible, but if you do that, the back end can just flick out, cost you a lot of time. Then down towards turn number 9 would be a long straight towards the next right-hander. However, there's this nice little chicane here to break it up and provide a little bit of overtaking action in towards turn 8, and then round turn 9 here. And you see Pedro, he's not exactly pushing the limits. I think that's understandable. He knows here he's not going to get pole position, but at least he'll want to try and get a good lap time on the board as Johan retires from the session completely, not setting a lap time. Pedro now going through turn number 10 and on towards the long right-hander of turn 11. And let's see now, a little bit of understeer on entry, understandable because of these conditions. Austin,
yeah, I hate to say it, in turn 10, also known as Senior, Pedro just invalidated his lap time by going a little bit too much on the inside of the curb. I was looking at the race director, and this lap time that he is setting right now will not count because he left the track with all 4 wheels. So that will be a 1:44.6. So he would be 12th, but it doesn't count, so he has to go again. Which, to be fair, doesn't matter all too much because it's intermediate tires, most likely a dry race, at least for the start, and so he doesn't have to worry about the sets of intermediate tires that he has. Which, to be fair, every driver gets 3 sets of inters, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah,
and
right,
yeah, and if you use 1 in qualifying, you still have 2 for the race, which should see you through the whole race if it does rain from beginning to the checkered flag. So you can easily use this one here and just, you know, turn some laps, make some laps, and just see where it gets you in the end. It isn't going to get him much further than P12, as Slossie is also out on the track. And this right here was the corner. First time he cut it. This time he gets a slide on Pedro. My goodness. As Swedish Dynamite retires, now the top 8 all retired. And about Swedish Dynamite, I'm going to be very interested to see what he can do this race. Going to start from P6. And he does have the flu, so he is not at 100%. He is struggling a little bit with, you know how the flu is. But he said he's gonna race anyway, and if he's not on pace, we know why. Those were his words. As Pedro, only half a second behind Slimbo, I think there's a chance there.
There is a chance, but Slimbo's also out on track there on the intermediate tyres. So we should be expecting a lap time from him very soon. Oh, getting a little bit sideways there. In through, I believe that's turn number 12. So we go through turn 13 on to now turn 14. And Slimbo here checking a wide entry, and again the back end just wants to snap on him. So it looks like to me, Austin, these drivers are running dry setups and just put some intermediate tyres on because these cars are just not sticking to the track.
Yeah, which is what you would do if you expect a dry race. You know, the points are scored in the race, not in the qualifying. So as much as a good qualifying performance will help you, so you may put on, oh, Slimbo. Yeah, that lap is done. As much as, you know, a good qualifying performance would help you, but why would you put on a dry setup when A, you had dry running at the very beginning of qualifying, granted only for a short time, but it was there. We see the 130.3 from Benidorm, and B, the race is going to be dry most likely. Do we have any information
as of
about
yet,
the race? No, okay. But assuming the race is going to be dry, why would you put on a wet setup?
Pedro then comes back into the pits, and I wonder if this is to retire from the session. Currently in P12 with a 141.8, only 4 drivers currently competing in this qualifying session, and it's kind of understandable why. If the drivers aren't expecting any wet running during the race, then it just seems a little bit pointless them making some running on some intermediate tyres. But Jamie James is the highest ranked driver in qualifying to be out there on a set of intermediate tyres. Maybe he's just getting some running in, and now to come into the pit lane, so this might be Jamie James backing up for qualifying. Slimbo follows him in very shortly, so Slossie at turn 4 is the only driver now out on track. As I say that, he's now retired from the session. And this is slowly now, for the last 2 minutes and 45 seconds, Austin, becoming a podcast.
Yeah, it really is. But hey, we do have some video, we do have some images, at least that's there. Pedro also retires, and Jamie and Slimbo. What happens if everyone retires from qualifying? Is it going to be ended prematurely, or are we going to have to wait out the whole 2 minutes and 20 seconds?
Do you know what? I've never been in a scenario where all the drivers have retired from qualifying. I never happened.
Neither have I.
It's never
Neither
happened.
have I.
So I honestly don't know.
I think the one thing we can talk about, since it's only the 2 Ferraris still in the session, is that this right here is Jamie James's 50th AOR race, as he just retired from this session. It is his 50th race here in AOR, 49 so far. Finished 30, got 3 wins, podiums 6 times, 4 pole positions. No 5th today, but he at least starts in the top 10. And overall, he has scored 242 points. Looking to make it 250 today. He needs a 6th place, and there we go. It is over prematurely.
Well, there you go then. So the end of qualifying is here, and Benidorm is on pole position for the French Grand Prix. Chrisman in 2nd, Alex 23rd with Danny in 4th, Alex Musica 5th, Swedish Dynamite in 6th, Locke 7th with Desso in 8th, Jamie James in 9th, and Pit Matt rounding out the top 10. Slimbo in 11th, Pedro 12th, Slossie in 13th, and Johan did not set a lap time during that qualifying session. He will start from P14. And so then, all those drivers in the top 10 will be starting on the tyres they set that lap time on. So Deso is going to be starting on the set of hards with Locke, Swedish Dynamite and Danny starting on mediums. Everyone else though in the top 10 starting on a set of soft tyres. Just to give you a rundown of a little bit of the driver standings, it is Gabri who currently leads this league, with Johan in 2nd. Ian Motti, who's not here tonight, is 3rd place. So 92 points for the championship leader in Gabri. It's Johan starting in 14th place. He's on 66 points, 26 points behind the championship leader in Gabri. But correct me if I'm wrong, Austin, we have no Gabri tonight, so this needs to be a chance.
You're hold on, no.
Oh, it's Gabrielle, the Italian.
Yeah.
In the Mercedes. You see.
Gabrielle is Deso, and he is here.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's his forum name.
You know what, Austin? So I'm just creating false drama. So Deso is.
if you were to look on my spreadsheet, it's perfect there.
You see, I knew the spreadsheet was good for something.
Yeah.
So
But
anyway,
yeah, but I have to say I have included Danny Orr as well, who has 104 points, but he has left the series because of his work. So he couldn't. He left, I think, just before the Canadian Grand Prix. So this is the second race where he's no longer part of the grid. But technically, he has 104 points, and he's still in the lead, 12 points ahead of Deso.
so well, it's a bit of an odd feeling to be leading a championship you're no longer competing in, but that does put Deso
Yes.
on the top of the championship standings. 2 wins in his last 2 races at Monaco and at Canada, which puts him on to 92 points. So it is Johan starting from P14, 26 points behind. That's not what he needed in this qualifying session. Deso starting at 8th place on the hard tyres. Johan in 14th place, also on a set of hard tyres. Just how much of a mountain is this for Johan to climb today?
It's going to be huge, but I think if there's one driver who can do it, considering that he is second in the championship, I think it's him. The other would be Deso, but he has to get up from 8th place. I think the two can do it. Johan has come from behind before in races. This isn't the first time he's starting a little bit down the order. I don't think he ever started in 14th, but he's done some comeback races before. I wouldn't be surprised if he pulls off another one here today.
So it is Benidorm then on pole position for the French Grand Prix, and lovely sort of blue skies. It's a little bit hazy in the distance, however, looks like it's going to be dry running. We haven't been told otherwise, so let's assume it is going to be dry then, as Benidorm now slows up the pack and tries to bunch everyone up now, as we now make our way on board now with him towards turn 14. There you go, the AI takes over, and then we park it on the grid. We have 27 laps here at Paul Ricard, and around the 15 corners of what is the test track here in France. Let's see what the racing is going to be like. 2 DRS zones, one down this start-finish straight down towards turn 1, and the other along the back straight after turn 7 and in towards the braking zone of turn 8 and 9. No DRS zone up towards turn 10, quite understandably, because you've got that flying right-hander, which most drivers will try and take flat out, especially in qualifying, may have to lift depending on what tyres and fuel load you're on throughout the race. However, we're moments away then from the French Grand Prix here in the AOR Hype Energy F3 League on the PS4, as Benidorm now waits for the signal to start the race. And here we go then, we're counting up to the 5 red lights. Round 8 is underway, and what are the starts like? Well, Danny's jumped the start, they'll have a drive through. How about the rest of them as we now head down towards turn 1? Benidorm has got a good start then, he's under pressure from Cruzman as we head now towards turn 1. Watch out for the Ferrari behind as he's trying to get up the inside there. Didn't quite work for him as they try and make their way through turn 2. They all get through cleanly, no looks of damage at the moment. Danny does lead as we now head down towards turn 3, but he will have that drive through penalty. Alex Musica battling away then with Locker in towards the very tight turn 5 there, round towards turn 6. He tried to go up the inside there, but it was a very tight angle, and Locker's just about able to hold on onto now the back straight as we head towards turn 8. Alex Music could have another go here down the inside towards turn 8. He's thinking about it, trying to tuck back into the slipstream. Will he go for this move? No, he won't. He'll back out of it. Meanwhile, behind them then, Pitmac, and that is the Mercedes of Deso, then championship leader, battling the way now for 7th place. Remember, Deso on the hard tyres, Pitmac on the softs. So this is at least 2 compounds different between the 2 drivers, and Deso is trying now to get away from the Williams as they fly through turn 10 and then towards the braking zone of turn 11. That's Jamie James then having a slight lock-up in towards the braking zone there, just trying to put the pressure on. That looks like it's Slimbo in trouble, and he is, and the car looks okay. Might have just had a little bit of a moment then. Meanwhile, with the leaders then, Danny does technically lead, but he does have a drive-through, which he's serving this lap. So Danny comes in to serve his drive-through penalty for jumping the start, and that means Benidorm will gain the lead back at the French Grand Prix. Swedish Dynamite has had a moment just before the final corner. He finds himself around and now rejoins at the back of the grid. He should be able to gain a position on Danny before the end of the pit lane then. But Benidorm leaves from Krisman in second, Alex 23rd with Locker fourth, Alex Musica 5th, Pitmac 6th, Deso in 7th, Jamie James in 8th, Pedro in 9th, Slossie in 10th, Johan 11th, Slimbo in 12th, Swedish Dynamite 13th, and Danny rounds up the grid in 14th place. All the drivers at the start of this race are currently still in it, with Jamie James now trying to go around the outside at turn 5 on Deso. Deso makes a mistake then, locked up under braking, that unsettled the car, and Deso there lost a bit of ground and actually falls behind Jamie James. A rare error from the Mercedes driver, and it's cost him a position.
Yeah, not every time you can make an overtake on the championship leader. So Jamie James here, really, really well done, really opportunistic, and hey, that's already good enough for his 50th race, isn't it?
Absolutely, it's a great way to start your 50th race now in 7th place, overtaking the championship leader. Meanwhile, here is Locker here, trying to put some pressure on Alex 20 as we make our way through the braking zone of turn 11. Such a long right-hander here, really puts the pressure on the front left-hand tyre. It goes through a lot through that corner then. In towards turn 12 we go. We'll then have the right-hander of turn 13. You can see the Renault driver really turning up the heat on the Red Bull in front. Now in towards turn 14 and then towards the braking zone of turn 15, one of the slowest parts on the track. As Lockie, you can see there, go down to first and then switch up to second gear to try and reduce the wheel spin out of the corner. DRS is now enabled. We're on lap number 3, but we won't be able to use it until we're just past turn 7. That's where the first detection zone is, which is just before the turn in for turn number 7. Locker still trying to put some pressure on the Red Bull. Meanwhile, Pedro is trying to put some pressure on Deso up ahead. Now, Deso, of course, is on the hard tyres, but to me, it looks like he's struggling a bit. He's under pressure now from Pedro.
Yeah, Deso really not on pace here so far. It seems it may be that he doesn't get temperature into the hard tire. However, Pedro and Slossie behind him and Johan are all also on the hard tire. So they're not struggling, it seems, but he is. I'm kind of confused as to why. But the fact that he's dropping back from Jamie James in comparison to Jamie James, that doesn't surprise me as much. The soft, especially here in the beginning, is a lot faster than the hard tire. And it seems like Pedro may be able... No, not yet. But he is really close to Deso now. He is looking to attack and get that position. This may be the fight of the race, maybe, considering their tire choice. And if we, project a little bit, Locker may be the front runner right now, I would say, considering everyone else is on the soft. But I think those hard runners here, they may be in for a really good finish as well. And Deso against Pedro, that's leader in the standings against 4th place. And here you go. Pedro makes the move. Deso lost the position there. Or no, wait, what the... what just happened there? He was ahead. Maybe Deso is struggling with his internet connection.
Yeah, that could be a reason why. But we'll go then. Alex 20 riding aboard now. Alex Musica runs slightly wide on the exit of 7. That's not going to help his exit and run down towards turn 8. And in the slipstream he goes up towards now. This is turn 8. He's not quite close enough to have a go. Meanwhile then, Jamie James moves ahead now of Pitmat. So the Ferrari driver now up to 6th place and gets past Pitmat. He's now up, and his next target would be Alex 20, 1.3 ahead. He's still got that little bit of a train behind him with Pitmat, Deso and Pedro all trying to battle away for position. That's a lovely camera angle as they fly through turn 10. And this is on board with Deso now as he tries to close in on Pitmat. Pitmat and Jamie James running a little bit wide onto that abrasion part of the circuit, designed to slow the car down by getting a high rate of abrasion onto the tyres in order to try and cause a little bit of friction to slow the cars down. That's not really where you want your racing line to be. You'll find that your tyres will wear a lot quicker as Pitmat dives into the pit stead from 7th place. And that looks like, is that a scheduled stop, I wonder? Is that how long the soft tyres last?
No, the soft tires last a little bit longer. Well, depending on the driver, but I think there may be some front-wing damage on his car. We'll see. I'm looking at it right now, and no. That is peculiar. The soft tires, as I predict, last 7 to 9 laps, so you can take him a lot longer than he did. You can take him double that length. He came in after just 4 laps. You can take him 8, pretty much. And so I'm surprised here for him to take a pit stop this early, and I don't think he's going to be able to make it to the finish line on these hards. I think he's going to have to come in at pretty much close to the end for another set of probably the softs.
Well, he might go for the whole rainbow there. He might go on to the set of mediums towards the end of this one, but Chrisman and Locker, the two Renaults, really closing up to the back of Benidorm as they now fly through turn 11. Oh, that's Chrisman running wide. That looks like Locker, who wants to try and get an opportunity. And Locker, on these medium tyres, has kept himself to himself. Let the leaders battle for this one. And as Benidorm and Chrisman's soft tyres are starting to wear away, you'll see Locker pretty much has the upper hand in terms of tyre wear. He now has the tyre delta on his side, and meanwhile Deso gets the move on Pedro and moves now up to 7th place. So he's looking to try and make that battle stick. Meanwhile, we have Alex 20 into the pits. We have yellow flags in sector 3. That looks to me like it was Slimbo, was it? Well, he's still running around, so I'm not sure what those yellow flags were for.
I think it may be the pit entry of Alex 20, because I only saw the yellow flags for a very short amount of time. So it may have been his braking for the pit entry.
It could be. If you leave it at a certain angle, it can trigger a yellow flag. So that would probably have been addressed in the driver's briefing to actually keep it within the white lines. Meanwhile, Jamie James is trying to have a move on Alex Musica through turn 6. He saw a gap opening up on the inside, but Alex Musica slammed the door shut. And Jamie James now has an opportunity to go and try and go for a move down towards turn 8 with the DRS open. Alex Musica defends the inside. Jamie James goes around the outside.
Locker goes for the move for the lead. He overtakes Benidorm into the chicane, into turn 8. But Benidorm might come back here into Senior. They're side by side, too wide through that corner. It does work. And Locker stays ahead.
So Locker then moves ahead of both Chrisman and Benidorm to take the lead of the French Grand Prix. Now that is opportunistic driving. He's on a different strategy, but thought, you know what, I'm in control now. I want the lead of this race, and that's exactly what he's done. Deso, meanwhile, trying to close in on Alex Musica.
And Benidorm comes into the pits. Benidorm into the pits. So just after being overtaken, and this is the crossover point between the softs and the mediums, and it's only Marco Chrisman, the only soft runner, who stays out. So it is a Renault 1-2 right now here at the French Grand Prix. What else can the French ask for?
Well, we'll have to wait and see if the Renaults can hold on to this one. They're both on different strategies, so let's see how that ends up. A lot of drivers into the pit lane. It's Benidorm, it's Jamie James, Alex Musica, and Slimbo now into the pit lane. So they're all going on to a different set of tyres. Benidorm, interestingly, rejoining on a set of medium tyres. He's really going for an aggressive strategy. Could this be a 2-stop from the Toro Rosso driver? As Slimbo retires from the race itself, he becomes the first retirement then tonight. And he is now out of the French Grand Prix. We're down to 13 runners. But yeah, back to my original question. Can Benidorm try and make a 2-stop work here? That might be what he's going to try and go for.
Yeah, I think going soft to medium, I have my doubts. Even though one driver told me that he was going to go soft to medium, and I think now it's pretty clear who that was. I have my doubts. I don't believe it. I don't think you can take the mediums 21 laps. He's gonna suffer if he tries that. He's gonna suffer a puncture late in the race. I'm pretty certain. And yeah. Meanwhile, Marco Chrisman has dropped back a lot from Locker. Now you can see those soft tires really didn't last that long, and he comes into the pits, takes the lead only for a second or two because of that pit entry, and he will drop back now. Meanwhile, Locker still doing his laps out there. And Marco Chrisman onto the hards, and that is what I would expect to be the one-stop, soft to hard, for most of these drivers.
Well, we're just seeing Pedro there closing in to Deso up ahead. just wasn't quite close enough to have a go. We've seen some moves out on track here, plenty of battling going on as we're on lap number 8 of the French Grand Prix. We have 20 laps to go. It is Locker who leads from Deso in second, Pedro in third, Johan fourth, Slossi in fifth with Danny in sixth, Swedish Dynamite in seventh, Benidorm in eighth, Crisman in ninth, Jamie James in 10th, Alex 20 in 11th, Pitman in 12th, and Alex Musica running in 13th. Only one retirement today, and that is Alex Musica, that's Slimbo, who is retired from this race. Not quite sure where or how he retired. All we know is he's no longer running in this race.
Yeah, meanwhile, Johan picking up a 3-second time penalty. He's currently running in fourth in that whole hard compound tire pack of Deso, Pedro, himself, Johan, and Slossi. And I have to say, if it's not a Renault winning, I think Johan would be the next best choice because he is the only French driver on the grid. So for him to win his home race, I think that certainly would be something. I have casted the French Grand Prix, I think it was last week, in another league, and guess who won? A French driver. So I wouldn't be surprised if Johan does the same. Home race is always a big story, always a big thing, and Johan in the Papaya McLaren, he can make it come true. He's in a good position right now. He's only 1.2 seconds behind the fastest or the highest hard compound runner, which is Deso, which is the championship leader. But there's also Luca he has to worry about, and he is 7.5 seconds up the road from Johan.
Pedro once again has another opportunity to try and close in on Deso then as we head down towards turn 8. He's in the slipstream, he's got the DRS running on board now with the Alfa Romeo. He'll look to the right hand side. Deso tries to defend the inside line in towards turn 8, and the Alfa Romeo commits to the corner and grabs second place away from Deso. So that is the Alfa Romeo up to second place. Pedro now 6.4 behind Locker, but they are on different strategies. So Pedro on the hard tyres, Locker leading the race on the medium. So Locker on the softer tyres, so presumably it's going to go shorter into the race. Have a little more grip for now. However, we'll have to see how those strategies develop. Alex 20, meanwhile, is right on the back of Jamie James. He has been for a couple of laps now. He won't have DRS up towards turn 10. He's turned up the DRS to high mode as we now fly through turn 10. Still on the back of Jamie James. And sometimes you can get a bit frustrated as a driver if you're following the car ahead for quite some time. You can let the frustration build and you can go for silly moves, but at the moment Alex 20 is being quite sensible out there, waiting for DRS zones. That's his main opportunity as he gets a little bit sideways through turn 13 there. Not quite enough to put him off though. He will still have DRS down the start finish straight, but Alex 20 here, this is the battle for the last point scoring position, so he knows he wants it down towards the DRS straight towards turn 1, but he just looks a little bit too far back for my liking. Meanwhile, jumping on board with Deso here as he's looking to try and gain that position back from Pedro as we make our way through turn 7. Now DRS will open.
Yeah,
now.
he doesn't open it. I saw that on the pit straight already. I didn't want to interrupt you there, but I already saw that there. He does seem to have some kind of issue with his DRS. It seems to be offline or something. But even though he is in DRS range, he doesn't open it.
And that is an unfortunate failure at the moment. We'll see if the Mercedes team can fix that for Deso. No doubt he'll be hugely frustrated about that one, lamenting that problem. But all the team can do is try and fix it. I'm sure they'll try and turn it off and on again to see if that will fix the problem. We'll try and see if that works. However, huge problem with Deso because he's right on the back of him, but without that DRS, he can't quite have that closing speed he would normally expect going down towards turn 8.
Yeah, that is one of the most important factors here on this track. You have such a long run up to turn 8, and if you want to make a pass, if you want to make a move, you got to get it done there. It's the easiest thing because it is a heavier braking zone than you get into turn 1. It is a longer straight, so more run up than you get on the pit straight. So it is the best overtaking opportunity here on track. Meanwhile, we are in lap 11 now. Lap 10 just finished, and lap 10 pretty much is the crossover point between the mediums and the hards. So I would expect Pedro, Deso, Johan, Slossi to all make up time on Locka now, and also obviously drive away a little bit more from Swedish Dynamite, who is quite far behind that pack of 4 anyway. But the fight really that we're looking for here is Locka and the 4 chasers behind Pedro, Deso, Yuan, and Slossi. And now the gap should come down to under 6 seconds any moment now. Unless Locka comes into the pits. Lap 10 to 12 is where I have the pit window. As Locka loses it into turn 11. Oh my, that was a huge slide. He can thank the constructors of this track for these runoff areas. Otherwise, his race would be over.
Well, Locka breathes a sigh of relief. I wonder how long those tyres will last, and I think
he's going to come into the pits right now.
He's absolutely found out himself, so I'm wondering now, will it go into a set of hard tyres? He has to, surely. That's the only
there's no other option. It's going to be medium to hard for him.
So medium to hard. Meanwhile, we just saw Benidorm pass Swedish Dynamite. He's now up to 6th place. Of course, he's made his stop. So let's see where Locka rejoins. It's a long and painful pit lane. Swedish Dynamite into the pits as well. This looks like Benidorm now making his way down the start-finish straight. Locka here, it's such a slow pit lane. It is painfully slow. And it's Benidorm who gets up to 5th place ahead of Locka. And that is what he wanted. But let's remember that Benidorm is on a set of medium tyres here. Is he trying to make a 2-stop work? We won't know until, well, if he makes the second stop, that is. But like you say, Austin, it's going to be so difficult for him to get those medium tyres to the end of this race.
Yeah, I don't see it happening. Look how much Locka struggled after just 10 laps, 11 laps on these. And Benidorm wants to take him, what now, 21? I don't see a way for him to do this. I think he has to come in again. He has to get on a new set of mediums and finish on a 2-stop. There is no other way for him to do it. At least I don't see it. Maybe there is, but I don't see it.
Yeah, so still on the back of Pedro then, as we make our way through turn 11, on now towards turn 12 through this left-hander. Once again, so as it stands, has no DRS. So he's got to try and think of other ways to get past Pedro. And right now, there doesn't seem to be an option for him on the table. Maybe in the pit lane might be his best bet right now, but it's just seeing if the team can repair that DRS and when. And it looks like they have repaired it. It's back online for Deso. So this battle is back on then, down towards turn 1. And you can see there, he then actually turns off the DRS to stay behind Pedro. I think he realised there wasn't really a move into turn 1, but you see 2 different lines there through turns 1 and 2. Deso focusing on the exit of turn 2 by sacrificing the entrance of turn 1, heading to 3 and then through 4. This could be a really good opportunity for Deso here, going down towards turn 8. He'll be hugely frustrated that he couldn't make a move stick down towards turn 8. He didn't have that closing speed. Pedro now running through turn 7. Let's see what happens here. Deso with the slipstream. Now this time with the DRS closing a lot quicker than last time. Down towards turn 8 we go. Will he go for the move? He will. Down the inside in towards turn 8. Can he get the car stopped in time? Yes, he can. And Deso then moves up into the lead of this race, but Pedro wants to try and have a fight back as we head now up the hill towards turn 10. But look at that, Deso has already pulled out. A bit of a gap here as we now fly through that right-hander, and I think Deso will now be thanking the team for fixing that problem. It took a couple of laps, but he's finally got the lead of this race, and well, maybe a bit later than he might have planned or might have wanted. However, he now leads the French Grand Prix.
Yeah, and I don't think this is all over yet. I think Pedro may still have a chance. He just needs to stay within that 1 second window, and then everything's possible. There's still penalties. Look at these wide runoff areas on this track. What do wide runoffs mean on a track like this? That it's very easy to get a penalty here, or 2, or 5. We've seen everything. We've seen it in Canada last week. We've seen a whole bunch of penalties. I think the most we've seen was the driver had 7. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see someone have 7 penalties here, but getting 2 or 3 isn't exactly hard. It can happen just with a sleight of hand, and that could decide the race in the end. So if Pedro just stays close and stays penalty free, he already has a good chance. If he then is able to maybe pull an undercut on Deso, and make the move in the pit lane, then Desa's going to have to overtake him again. So Pedro still has a whole lot of options here to somehow get that win. He is staying within that 1 second window, within that DRS range, and he's doing a good job of that. So nothing's over here.
Well, Slossie, meanwhile, was trying to battle with Johan through turns 8 and 9, but couldn't quite find the way past. So Johan stays ahead to the delight of the home supporters. And Johan still in third place, holding back Slossie there in the Red Bull. At 14 of this race, we are at half race distance, and it's Deso who leads with Pedro second. Johan in third, and Pedro comes in. As does Johan.
That is early.
Well, I mean, that threw my rundown out of the equation, but Pedro gets himself a 5-second stop go for speeding in the pit lane. He can't serve that at this stop. That'll be added to the end of his race, that time penalty. He'll be hugely frustrated with that one. He puts on a set of medium tyres and away he goes, so 5 seconds looming over the Alfa Romeo. How will he react to that? Surely the reaction would be to push as hard as he possibly can. So what that means is that Benidorm now moves up to third with Locker in fourth. There is the Alfa Romeo of Pedro, who rejoins in 6th place, and more importantly for him, in clear air, which is exactly what he needed. So a great call from the Alfa Romeo team to call him in when they did. One more lap and he probably would have been rejoined in this battle between Jamie James, Alex 20 and Pitman. He would have been right in the middle of it.
Yeah, and that might be where Deso rejoins. Again, the time loss here is about 23 seconds, maybe 22. It's always just an estimate that I can give you, because obviously I'm not as good as these drivers are. So I'm just basing that off my data when I do practice runs and all that. So 23 seconds, 22 seconds maybe. So he's going to rejoin. At this point, if Deso comes in, he's going to rejoin slightly behind Pedro, I would assume, because Pedro is gaining on him on track. Yep, and Deso does come in. Slossie, let's see, he also comes in. So all the drivers now coming in after only 15 laps. That is, I still think that's a little bit early. I would have gone 16 on those hards. But, hey, those drivers know. Oh, and the Red Bull crew wasn't ready. Or, no, they were. Okay, that was just a little bit of lag for me, apparently. Maybe my connection is the problem here, not Deso's or Slossie's. My goodness. And there you go. Benidorm retakes the lead. The pole sitter back in P1. But for how long? Remember, he is on soft to medium. I don't see him take those mediums 21 laps. He's been on him for 9 now. This is his 10th. He's going to have to go 11 more once he finishes this one. I just can't imagine it.
Well, Slossie in that pit lane picked himself up a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. So that'll be added to the end of his race, assuming he doesn't make another stop in this race. Now the difference is Deso there and Slossie pitted in at the same time. Deso rejoined in 5th place, Slossie rejoined in 9th, and those are the margins we're talking about here. Slossie's day has just got a lot more difficult rejoining behind the likes of Alex 20, Pitman and Jamie James, but he's under pressure now from Johan now, as we now make our way towards turn 10. Johan actually has a little bit of slipstream here, and Slossie will have to defend into turn 10, which is not really a place you want to defend, but he defends it really well actually, making Johan work hard for that one. Now Johan trying to go up the inside. It's a tighter line through there, so you do scrub up a little bit more speed. That will hurt him on the exit. And yeah, Slossie's done a really good job there of holding back Johan through that tight section.
Yeah, and he needed to. Remember, before the pit stops, it was Slossie who was stuck behind Johan for so long. And now with an overcut, he actually made the move in the pit lane and got out ahead of Johan, even though he does have a 5-second penalty. But Johan, I think, from what I've seen so far, has 9 seconds worth of on-track penalties just from corner cutting. So it's actually not too bad for Slossie, at least in comparison to the guy behind him. He just needs to keep him behind, because otherwise Slossie's going to lose so much more time to Johan as he did in the first stint.
Lots of battling in the midfield going on. We've got Pedro trying to close in on Marco Brisbane for the last podium position. We've also got this long battle between Jamie James, Alex 20, Pitmat, Slossie and Johan. 6th down to 10th place. And here, riding on board with Slossie now as he closes in on Pitmat, going down towards turn 8 then. Red Bull on the inside of the Williams, and Pitmat breaks earlier. I don't think he was going to make that too difficult, and Slossie then moves up to 8th place. How about Johan then? He's got to react as well as we now head up the hill towards turn 10. I think Pitmat is just going to stay in the slipstream of Slossie then to help him with that straight line speed through, and then turn 10 we go. And Johan here needs to try and make a move as we head through turn 11. Surely not up the inside of the Williams, and he has done. He goes up the inside and stamps his authority down, and the McLaren now moves up to 9th place. The home fans will have loved that one.
Yeah, and there you can see the difference between a fresh medium tire and a 13-lap old hard tire. That is exactly the difference. That's when you can make these kinds of overtakes. Fantastically done, but certainly helped by the difference in tire compounds here. My goodness, Johan, well done. But he needs to make it through the field now. He needs to make it through the field quickly because he still has 3 out of 4 hard runners in front of him. I doubt he will get to Locka, but he will definitely get to Alex 20 and Jamie James, maybe even Marco Brisbane. We'll see about that one. But he needs to make those moves, and he needs to make them quickly.
Well, we've seen Pedro get past Brisbane into turn 1. Now this time, Deso needs to try and make this move on Brisbane, heading down towards turn 8. The only problem is Loreno ahead of him as DRS as well, so not quite a move on the cards there. Slossie, meanwhile, moves ahead of Alex 20, and again, I don't think Alex 20 made that too difficult. Alex Musica now out of this race. Meanwhile, Deso, and this is Brisbane now battling up towards turn 10. Deso around the outside, they're giving each other plenty of space as we now make our way through turn 11, and Deso goes around the outside. Brisbane backed out of it. He realised there wasn't going to be any space on the inside, and the Mercedes driver takes P4 away.
Yeah, and I gotta say, I think Alex Musica and Swedish Dynamite tangled up, because Swedish Dynamite, as Alex Musica retired, I looked at him and he was spun around on the exit of turn 7, which is usually flat out, but not if you're side by side. And maybe they came together there, and Alex Musica was in the wall and Swedish Dynamite was spun around, so I think those two may have tangled up there, much to the chagrin of Alex Musica, who is now out of the race, who has retired. And Swedish Dynamite, I think, does he have front wing damage? No, he does not, but certainly lost himself a lot of time there, and he will not be happy. Not only does he have the flu, he also has last place of all the runners right now. Very, very unfortunate day for him.
Yeah, I mean, fair play to him. Feeling under the weather with the flu, still battling it out there. He's not going to be at 100%. He's still got a chance of pointing. You never know. Here's Johan then, in front of his home crowd, trying to battle with Alex 20 down towards turn 8. He's got the inside line. Who breaks last? In towards turn 8. Johan locks up there, but Alex 20 just about keeps that position for now. How about the exit through turn 9? Johan has got a better exit. He's got the slipstream as well as we head now up towards turn 10. Up the inside we go. Through that flying right-hander of turn 10, the McLaren up the inside, the Red Bull on the outside, as we now head through turn 11. Alex 20 still trying to make a battle of this around the outside. Johan takes the position away and moves now up to 8th place. Johan is on a charge.
Yeah, not just him, Slossie as well. Again, the tires are the most important factor here. They need to make it through the field, and they do. Slossie with 3 overtakes now on Pitmat, Alex 20, and on Jamie James. Johan with 2 so far. Jamie James still up the road from him, but less than a second, so he does get the DRS. And Jamie James, does he have DRS right now? Yes, he does. Okay, it's hard to see on that Ferrari whether the rear wing is actually open or not, but it was. And so Johan has to hope that Slossie can drive away from Jamie James a little bit, at least get him out of that 1 second window. And it seems like Slossie is doing exactly that. If I was Slossie, I'm going to tell you right now, I would try to keep Jamie James in that window for as long as possible, just to not have to worry about Johan behind. Or you go up the road to try and attack Marco Brisbane. Those are the two options. Are you going to try to stabilize P6 or are you going to go for 5th?
Meanwhile, looks like Deso here is trying to go for 3rd as we head through turn 10 now. Pedro is just doing enough now to stay ahead of the Mercedes driver running on board with Deso as he runs it through turn 11 here. And you can see there kind of different lines through there. Deso trying to hit the apex sweetly there, which he does, and still trying to close into the back of that Alfa Romeo ahead. We have 8 laps to go here, 7 and a bit if you're picky, and Benetton leads on 13-lap-old medium tyres. And well, let's see if Toro Rosso what he does. It seems like the pit window for him is open now on lap 21 to come in and put on a fresh set of soft tyres to get him to the end. But the only issue is that those soft tyres have the delta pace, the overall delta pace. Of course they do. They're the softest tyre. However, they also wear out the quickest. So I don't know. Maybe he'll go into a set of well, the only one he can go into is a set of medium tyres or a set of soft tyres. But either way, it is going to be tricky for him towards the end. He'll have to make overtaking moves slick and quickly.
Yeah, and remember, with 23 seconds lost time in the pits, he's going to drop down all the way to P11. He's going to drop behind Danny. And sure, he will have the pace to make some of those positions back. But the question is how many. I don't see him get further up the order than maybe P7, maybe ahead of well, now P8, ahead of Jamie James, as Yawan makes the move on him and makes it stick into turn 8. Well done there. And that was the one he needed. Now he can hunt after Slossie again. Try to reunite with his foe for this whole race. And maybe try and hunt down Marco Prisman together.
Deso's run wide at turn 11 and he's been slapped with a 3-second time penalty. I think that's harsh, but either way, he's going to have to carry that to the end of the race. And that will be a sucker punch, getting a penalty like that, and especially as a driver, if you haven't deserved the penalty, that plays on your mind for the entire race. Deso's just going to bury that and keep focused, because he's lost a lot of time there on Pedro, probably because that penalty's unsettled him.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the penalties right now. Very, very interesting. Going by that, the biggest favorite right now, I would say, to win this race is Loka, because Loka does not have a single penalty. He has 2 warnings, so he needs to be careful to not pick up a 3rd warning and therefore then a penalty. But for now, all he has is 2 warnings and no penalties. So right now he is still in the clear.
Here's Deso down towards turn 8, up the inside of Pedro, and has he got the move done? Well, he bunny hops over the curb through turn 8, then through turn 9 we go. Deso holds on, but now this is Pedro then with the slipstream and more ERS deployment, then up towards turn 10, and he's going to have to go around the outside if he wants this to stick. Then he can't quite do it. Maybe turn 11 is a chance for him to try and take a different line. No, Deso then holds on to 3rd place and now onto the podium. He's now got Locker in his sights, then 1.1 seconds, but as you say, Austin, there are penalties to be had at the end of this race.
Yeah, and remember, Pedro did pick up a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane at his pit stop, so he does have that, and he has an additional 3-second time penalty, so it's 8 for Pedro, and it's only 3 for Deso. So Deso has a good shot here. That penalty that he picked up there, that 3-second, that's his only one. Again, Loka still penalty free, and Benidorm himself also has 3 seconds worth of penalties. So right now, this is probably the closest battle, including penalties, between Benidorm and Loka, because that's 2/10 that Loka is behind him now. On track, it's 3.4 seconds, but if you take the penalties into account, we're talking 0.2 seconds right now.
So all to play for now. Benidorm's tyres will start to give up as Swedish Dynamite now out of the race. He is now out and becomes our 3rd retirement of the day. I'm not sure if that's him parking up, but of course he was under the weather coming into this race. I don't know whether he's crashed out of this race or he's just pulled to one side and called it a day, which, you know what, fair play to him. He turned up, he wasn't 100%, He wanted to keep going, but he has retired from this race altogether. Something tells me that Swedish Dynamite wouldn't have just pulled to the side and retired from the race like that. I think some sort of problem happened there. Meanwhile, Pitmat right on the back of Alex 20 then as we head through turn 11. And Pitmat now is holding on to the last point scoring position of this race. And it's getting to a point now, we'll switch our focus back to the lead of the race, because it's getting to a point now where Benidorm, the pit window, I say, is closed now for the soft tyres. To me, he's got to commit on those medium tyres now to the end of this race.
Yeah, definitely. I'm still surprised he didn't already suffer a puncture, but he may get it any lap now unless he really took care of those tires, at which point, fair play to him, but he locks up into turn 6, into turn 5 there a little bit. You saw a little bit of smoke come up. Meanwhile, look at what's happening behind Benidorm. Locka, who was basically 3.1 seconds away from Benidorm for this whole time, now under attack from the two medium flyers behind him, Deso and Pedro. Are they going to pull a Ricardo Zonta on him? Not yet. Not yet, but this is for position, not like Ricardo Zonta. That was a lapping with Schumacher and Häkkinen. This one here is for position, but oh, this is getting scruffy here. Pedro and Deso and Pedro!
Oh, he's out! Out of the race goes Pedro, makes contact with Deso, and that is him out of the French Grand Prix. And they were battling through turn 10, contact made, and for Pedro, there was only one place he was going. He tried to keep his foot in, he tried not to lose any time, but he clipped that barrier on the right-hand side, and he is now out of this race. So Deso now focuses his attentions on Locka. Benidorm still leading, by the way. Locka, just a lap ago, did pick up a 3-second time penalty. So Deso now running with the DRS down towards turn 1. Locka goes defensive on the inside. Does he get that move stuck? Yes, he does. And Deso moves into second place in this race. That's a nice move from Deso as he now makes his way down towards turn 3. But unfortunate for Pedro, he battled hard, but in the end, the barrier on that right-hand side just caught him out, and he now finds himself out of the French Grand Prix.
And that was a fantastic move from Deso into turn 1 there, around the outside. You don't see that one very often, but turn 1 here lends itself to this a little bit, because you do have turn 2 coming out right after. You do have this chicane-style corner there. And so going around the outside in the first part allows you, if you keep your nose in, to have the shorter run through turn 2 and therefore then make the move stick. But he did it. He completed the move after turn 1 and before the apex of turn 2 even came about.
Well, Danny picks up a 3-second time going through pit. That's still half a second down on Alex 20 as they make their way now up towards turn 10. He wants to try and grab 8th place away. Just an update on the fastest lap of the race point. It's currently going to Deso right now, who's in second place. So at this moment in time, without the penalties added on at the end of this race, awarded by the game, he will be on 19 points scored, which is well, he's ahead of Johan, which to me would be a success for him. I know he wants to go for the win every single time. He wants to make it 3 on the trot. There is still time with 2 laps to go.
Yeah, and now the time really runs out for Deso. He's going to have to gain over a second a lap on Benidorm. He does have a lot fresher tires. We're talking 10 to 19 laps. That is the comparison here. So he can do it, but I think what's going to happen is Danny is probably going to go for the fastest lap point here. He comes into the pits to get a set of softs. I think he's going to have one run to at least make 2 points out of this one that he currently has. He was in last place anyway, so for him, that's not, it's not much of a change here. He just goes in to get an additional point when he had no chance of getting another position on track anyway. But yeah, I don't think Deso is going to be able to make it to Benidorm unless, again, Benidorm gets a puncture. And I think, I'm just going to pull up the Benidorm cam for myself to see if there is a puncture on his car at some point in the next lap and a bit, because this is how close we are to the finish. and to the checkered flag. Just this one corner that's coming up here, turn 15, and then one more lap.
So those tyres have been holding on desperately now for the last couple of laps. They just have to cover one more lap around the Paul Ricard circuit. Meanwhile, behind them, all the way down in 8th place, there's a great battle emerging between Alex 20 and Pitmac. They're racing hard here towards the end of this race. Deso now down to 1.4 seconds, 1.3 seconds now behind the Toro Rosso. If he can make this move on track, he'll feel pretty good, but he will be at the mercy of penalties, as will Benidorm towards the end of this one. Let's have a look then, riding on board with Deso as we now ride our way through turn 6, then through the left-hander of turn 7. Slossie picks up a time penalty, 3 seconds added to the end of this race. Now Deso still trying to close in, 1.1 is the gap. For me, it doesn't look like it's going to be enough, but anything can happen on this final lap. Down towards turn 8 we go, riding on board with the Mercedes. Look how quick, look how much he's closing in on Benidorm now. 9/10 of a second the gap is now, as we now make our way up the hill towards turn 10. And this could be a place that a tyre lets go, that front left especially now, as we head through turn 10 and then through that long right-hander of turn 11. Looks like Benidorm has got it under control for now, as we now make our way through 11 and then on towards turn 12. This really is crunch time for Benidorm. 20 laps on those medium tyres. An impressive feat then as we head our way through turn 13 and then on towards 14 and 15. Benidorm here is going to round the final corner, and he might have just about kept those tyres in check. Benidorm heads towards the start-finish line. Can he win the French Grand Prix? Crosses the line first, and yes, he has! He has won the French Grand Prix. A great drive from Benidorm. A strategy that was questioned at the start, but it's got him a win by half a second. A great drive from Benidorm. It is Deso in second, Locker in third, Chrisman finishing in fourth, Jamie James in fifth, Johan in sixth, with Slossie in seventh, Pitmac in eighth, with Alex 20 dropping to ninth on penalties. We do have Danny, who's out there on his flying lap to try and get himself the fastest lap of this race. He now goes through the final corner to come up towards the start-finish line. But for Benidorm, it's his day here in France. A strategy questioned at the start, but he made it work, and he takes the win here in France.
Absolutely fantastic tire management job from Benidorm. I have no words. It's the second race in a row that we have a Dutch driver on pole position. It was Slossie in Canada. It is Benidorm here, and this time the Dutch driver is actually able to bring it to the finishing line and win the race.
And you know something? You want to know Locker's last 3 results from races he turned up in? China 11th, Azerbaijan 6th, Spain 7th. How about France first? What a drive from Benidorm, and he picks up his first race win of the season with fantastic tyre management. As we now bring you, in just a couple of seconds, the official, unofficial results of the AOR Hype Energy F3 League on the PS4. Many penalties handed out, but not to Chrisman. Get on that in a second. Benidorm then wins the race, takes their first race win of the season. Deso coming from 8th place, finishing in 2nd. Locker in 3rd, Chrisman 4th, Jamie James in 5th. Johan from 14th on the grid, finishing in 6th. Slossie from 13th in 7th. Great drives from them. Pitmac in 8th. Alex 20 in 9th, and Danny rounding out the top 10, and he did get the fastest lap of the race, so 2 points will be going his way as we head towards the next round. But, well, Austin, what a race we had there. Not a bad one for Jamie James' 250th Grand Prix in AOR, eh?
250th?
Yeah, add a 200 on, why not? 50th.
Okay.
50th Grand Prix for Jamie James, 5th place. I'll tell you what, talk about stars aligning. Not a bad race, all about tyre management. And Johan as well, in front of his home crowd, quite an impressive drive from right the way back. Obviously didn't set a lap in qualifying, manages to finish in 6th place. Not a bad drive for the Frenchman at his home Grand Prix, but Benidorm will be taking the headlines here. Tyre management, and I was questioning the strategy when he came in to switch onto those medium tyres, but I tell you what, 21 laps on those mediums, an impressive feat and a well-deserved victory.
Yeah, and I gotta tell you, I questioned that strategy when he sent it to me, because he was one of the 2 drivers I was talking to at or before the race, and I read that, I was like, wait, soft to medium? I thought he was talking about a two-stop at first, but no, he was talking about soft to medium, something that I did not even consider. You have the spreadsheet in front of you. I consider soft to hard, medium to hard, and a soft, medium, soft two-stop. I had no idea that anyone could pull off a soft to medium one-stop here, but he did it, and he did it to perfection. Well done to Benidorm.
Absolutely, and you can join us next week for more action at the Austrian Grand Prix. Don't even say the hills are alive with, because it's not funny, but it never was. Anyway, we've had a great Grand Prix here. I hope you can join us next week for the Austrian Grand Prix. Make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel down below. Make sure you hit the notification bell so you're notified every time we go live. Make sure you follow the league on Twitter. It's at ApexOnRacing. You can follow me whilst you're there as well. It's at KSMCGF1. And you can also follow Austin whilst you're there as well.
Yes, if you want to follow me on Twitter, that is at FHSBadger. It's pretty easy now. It used to be a lot harder. But that is going to be it for the French Grand Prix here at the AOR Hype Energy PS4 F3 League. We will be back for Austria next week.
And hopefully you can join us for then. In the meantime, thank you very much for watching. I've been Kieran McGinley.
And I'm Austin Smith.
Take care of yourselves, and we will see you next time.